Hola, my name is Jocelin Monge. I am a first-generation Latina CSUSB alumni. Here at Cal State, I've been here for 4 years now. My time here at CSUSB has just been for my graduate education, so just for my master's program. I did my undergraduate education at Cal State San Marcos, so that's in North San Diego County. I did my bachelor's degree over there in communication. So over there I did 5 years. I'm class of 2017. During my high school years, I did what's called the AVID program, which helps high school students prepare themselves for college. And so I did that program during my junior and senior year in high school. And then I but I went straight to university from high school to Cal State San Marcos. Okay. And so that really prepared me for college, and it prepared me to, just learn about the college environment, the college life, and all that stuff. So during my master's program, I did all my classes here in University Hall, UH. I had my classes. I was also teaching as a graduate student, so the classes I did teach, I taught here at this building. But I would also go to College of Education, to that building as well, just because that's where the Office of Graduate Studies is located. And so I would go over there for their different events. Like they had a writing accountability group, and they also had, a thesis retreat event where, you can spend some time to work on your thesis, which is what I did for my master's program. For the Masters of Arts in Communication Studies, you have 3 options to fulfill what's called your culminating experience. And so the culminating experience could be either option A, writing a master thesis, which is basically a very, very extensive research paper. You can do option B, which is a special project. So you can do a project for the program, and then you'll be able to write about the project, implement it, and write a paper about it. Or you can do 3, which is a comprehensive examination where faculty will ask you questions about the knowledge of the program and the content. And so those are the 3 options for the culminating experience for the master's program. And so I did the master thesis. Yeah, so I really like this question because it all started with a faculty member at Cal State San Marcos. She was the first faculty member that I met that was 1 female and 2 Latina in the communication studies field. And so that really inspired me because I had never met someone who looks and speaks like me and who has a PhD, a doctorate, and I found that very amazing. And I really got inspired by this person, and I decided to continue, my education in communication. So I ended up switching my major. I ended up, getting more involved within that department. And so that really inspired me to also continue my education to not only my bachelor's degree, but my master's degree as well. So I decided to pursue my master's degree, and I really, really love comm studies. I think it's very empowering and to really connect with other people, but also to grow professionally as well. My identity, the aspect of being Latina is something very close and dear to my heart because in the institution of higher education, Latinas and other, BIPOC communities are underrepresented and have been historically marginalized. And so this aspect of my identity is very important because it really reminds me of also just, my heritage and my historical background as a Latina, as a Mexican-American, daughter of immigrants, first-generation student. It's really powerful because there's a lot of obstacles and barriers that are in place in these institutions that students face all the time. And so my identity helps me inform my practice of how I am in the professional environment and in the higher educational environment, how I am as a professional, just because I want to advocate and be an ally for those who also cross through these paths. And so I think that is very important to me, and I'm really passionate about it. At Cal State San Marcos, I ended up just commuting to that campus from my hometown. And so there was that barrier of like financial issues, like in terms of I couldn't live on campus, I couldn't be, living in the dorms. I wasn't able to afford that, nor was my family able to afford that. So I had to commute, which was very tiresome because, commuting maybe 2 hours out of your day can really tire you, especially when you're a full-time student and maybe you're a part-time, student worker. So it's a lot to manage. As a graduate student, it's different because most graduate students will have either a full-time job or they already have a family. And so for me, like I already have, a family. I have a little one that I have to take care of, that I have to be responsible for. But I am financially independent, which means that, I don't depend on my family to provide for me anymore. I have to be self-dependent, I guess, in that sense. So I have to provide for myself, but also for my child. And so that can create a lot of challenges because in graduate school, you have graduate level coursework, you have papers, you have assignments that you have to do, but then you also have other stuff that you got going on. Like you have to also be involved in your program and you have to network and all that. And so all of that can take a lot of energy. And so those are some challenges that I did face through my education. For my master's program, I was able to have that opportunity to be a graduate teaching associate, which is for short GTA. Basically, you will teach the introduction to public speaking communication studies, and you'll be able to teach that as a graduate student. So that's really helpful because you gain that experience as a student before you graduate and you go into the field. And so that has given me that opportunity. In addition to that, I was able to be a research assistant for like a part-time gig during the grad program. And then after the graduate program, I was able to network with other professionals on campus and work as a full-time staff member. And so currently I'm still a full-time staff member, but I also work part-time as a faculty member at different community colleges in the area. So that help me to expand my professional development, but also just like landing a job. It can really help students develop their communication skills. So in the real world, you need to learn how to communicate with people, with your supervisors, with, whatever field you decide to go to, whether it's the science field, the arts, the business field, the medical field. You have to have communication skills at an interpersonal level, but also like in a public speaking level because they will be necessary in your job. And so comm studies can really help students be equipped with those skills in their careers. And so that is also why it is a requirement for students to take, communication studies. But yeah, that's how it can help students. In terms of improvements in my graduate program, I feel like I did the most I can during my graduate program, and I highly encourage people to do that. And I know sometimes it looks different for everybody because everybody has different circumstances, but I try to be involved as much as possible. Graduate school will go by really quick. 2 to 3 years, depending on your culminating experience, can go by really quick. And so it's really important that you take as much advantage of the events, the opportunities that you have. So I feel like I did pretty good in my program, I'm not gonna lie, but I definitely recommend, being involved with, research programs, events, competitions, conferences, like getting involved because that helps build your resume as well before you leave graduate school. Yeah, so what's next? That's a great question because, there's always that question when we finish school and or we're working, or we're transitioning from jobs. Like, what are we going to do now, that I already did this big milestone? And so currently, I am planning on just being more involved in my community. So doing that through different community colleges. So different community colleges in the Inland Empire. I want to, meet students. I want to get to know the campuses. I want to see what is needed in the community so that I can serve the community and help, build and, close those gaps that are needed in their communities. So I really want to do that. And then also, maybe down the road, not sure yet, but maybe down the road, thinking of a doctoral program. Not sure yet. That is a huge commitment there. So right now, my priorities are just, my family, sustaining myself financially, but also, tapping into my local community colleges.